Hello, everybody. I'm normally not your host, but our host has lost internet, so it is supposed to be Dr. Mindy. Thank you guys for tuning in. While I try to figure out on her end what's going on, I'll go ahead and jump into the announcements. We do have our room block coming up, you guys. That is July the 1st. So please make sure that you guys are getting your rooms reserved. Room block ends July the 1st. And of course, we have our upcoming DEs. Our upcoming DE we have is July 16th through the 19th. That's coming up real soon, and that's the room block that I was telling you guys about for July the 1st. Then we have our fall DE coming up October 22nd to the 25th, winter DE January to 28th to the 31st, and then we have our spring DE for 2027, April 15th through the 18th, y'all. And also, we have our opportunity for you guys to become a member. We have our DC membership that's $129 a month, or you can do your DC associate. That is $65 per month. So at the next DE, if you want to become a member, you guys just hit us up and let us know, and we'll get you a membership. And again, I don't see Dr. Minnie coming in tonight, you guys, so far right now. So I think I will go ahead and get our speaker for tonight. As you guys can see, our speaker is Dr. Ryan Dopps, and I'm going to go ahead and give it over to him. Thank you guys for tuning in, and here we go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's good to be on here. Thanks for tuning in. Excited to share. I haven't been on here for a little while. So, again, thank you for joining. I was just kind of talking to Danny and Mindy before we got on and kind of just giving them a rundown. It's been quite the journey with DE over the last decade and a half, I guess, is kind of what we're rounding out, which is pretty wild. We were joking about knowing the ropes and knowing if I knew how to do this, and maybe I do, maybe I don't. So we'll see how it goes. Just kind of give you guys an update. At the beginning of May, I celebrated 20 years in practice, which does not feel real, which is really wild. I've been at my east side of Wichita location for 14 years. My satellite office out in a rural farming community outside of Wichita. I've been there 5 years. And about a year ago, I had a great conversation with my dad. I know my dad's been to DE a couple years ago, and he called and was nearing kind of the end of his career, right? And he wanted to retire. So he goes, we need to figure out a plan, and I need you to make it happen. He goes, I want to be done, but I don't want to just close it all down. So I said, all right, Dad, this is mid-March last year. And I told him, I go, give me 6 weeks. Let me get some things in my ducks in a row, and I'll take it over May 1st. It was probably the 30th of April. He called me and he goes, something about having you back in the office. He goes, there's more energy, there's more excitement. He goes, I like coming into work and practicing with you. And he goes, I don't know if I'm going to turn it over just yet. I think I'm going to stick around for a minute. So we're a year and 2 months past that, and I'm still really enjoying working with him. It's been a lot of fun. So I was at that office today, and it's exciting to get the ball rolling and do things. It was on the original side of town that I started on, so it's great to reconnect with practice members from out there and to pull from that database of people that I used to serve. I think that's great. He has a plaque in the office. I want to see if I can get this up. Danny, I uploaded that photo. I don't really know how to do it, but if you can get that picture up there. There we go. So his late brother made this for him when he was finishing up his schooling at Palmer, and this actually hangs in my adjusting room that I use at the West office. This plaque's probably, 2 foot by 1.5 foot, and it's on I don't know what it's like a laminated but lacquered onto wood, and it's really great. We've all seen this quote before, but I love it because Edison, being one of the great minds of our country, really nailed it here, right? The doctor of the future gives no medicine but to interest his patients in the care of the human frame and the cause and prevention of disease. And, you know, the more I think about chiropractic, the more I realize just how damn amazing it is. How amazing it is that we have a philosophy that's separate and distinct from medicine, that we have a philosophy that's unique and individualistic to our own and cares for the person, not the disease, not the syndrome, not what big pharma thinks, not about covering the symptoms up, that we actually get to serve people, you know? And I think that looking at the skeletal structure and understanding the damaging causes of subluxation and being able to convey that to people is life-giving. And it's amazing how much power and potential we hold in the adjustment. So tonight I want to kind of talk about just getting back to the basics. You know, I know that's a common theme on these things, but the basics just matter. Blocking and tackling, like Dr. Sid always said. And I think this is a great starting point because this thing's been around my entire life. It's always been in my dad's practice, and it's always hung in a common space where people can see it. And it's amazing how when people read that, they're really astounded by the fact that it's so simplistic, right? It's the care of the human frame and the cause and prevention of disease. Danny, give me back full screen if you can. I've said this to a lot of people. I love where I think it's in Stevenson's book that it says that medicine is the study of disease and the things that cause a person to die, where chiropractic is the study of health and the things that cause a person to live. You guys know me. I like to go dive deep into the meanings and the function behind things. And I love that quote. I know I've shared it from the DE stage before, and I think I'll always hang my hat on that one, that those are two distinct different destinations. The things that cause a person to die and the things that cause a person to live. Those are wild, right? That's two different places that we're focusing. And it really defines who we are and what our philosophies are. There's a time and place for medicine always. There's a time and place, I think, for chiropractic. And I think that time and place for chiropractic is obviously every day, all the time, every person. But when we think about the cause and prevention of disease, like Edison said, and we also think about the things that cause a person to live, they're very similar things. We could go to the 3 T's, the trauma, toxins, and thoughts. And, you know, the thing that I think is wild is just how simplistic that is. That if we remove interference neurologically, understand who people are chemically and what they're putting into their body, and then able to support them emotionally, the amount of healing that can take place in that space, reduced nerve interference, chemically balanced, and loved and supported, I mean, that is what chiropractic is. And I was actually talking to a practice member today about, as a new one that started today. And we were talking about, his traumas and his things that he had. And, when we use chiropractic in a medical model and we use it for the treatment of symptoms, man, it can be really great to mobilize a joint, right? To free restrictions, to treat the symptom of pain, to address the symptom of inflammation. Doing it through chiropractic is a proper means to do it. So there's not any harm in that, but it's when we adopt our own philosophy, our separate and distinct philosophy, that people actually thrive and can become the best authentic version of themselves by removing interference. I know we're a principled group. I'm a principled chiropractor through and through, and I have no problem saying this, that the term subluxation we always refer to as nerve interference, hard bone on a soft nerve. I believe the subluxation can happen a lot. And we talk about it in DE, right? The subluxation between the ears, that's the toxin, or that's the thoughts. That's the mental side of things. We can talk about chemical things as far as toxins going into our body. Really, the big picture, right, that this is all about is what is the tone? This goes back to DD, right? What is the tone of the nerve system? What is the state of the body that this person's in? If they're in chronic subluxation, their tone is going to be a sympathetic dominance. If they're in a toxic overload, their tone is going to be a sympathetic dominance. If they're emotionally imbalanced due to whatever, right, whatever life throws at them, and being able to process and own it, they're going to live in a state of sympathetic. And so if I believe our call is to be doctors and try to figure it out, to be detectives and look to see exactly where the subluxation is coming at in this person. Really great example. I had this guy, a reactivation that came in a couple of weeks ago, and low back pain. He's a lineman, hard work, climbing poles, doing all the things that they do. I don't really know, but I know they work hard. And so, but he's got low back pain. And so we start talking, and I was like, well, what else is going on with you, man? And he goes, oh, and he's probably 40. And then he goes, well, since I've seen you last 2 years ago, he goes, I got diagnosed with diabetes. I've got ulcerative colitis, and there was something else, and I just kind of looked at him, and I go, and you look at like where the nerves originate from, and his whole state, everything that he told me was exactly where his pain patterns fell. And I was like, Jacob, look at this, man. I go, you can chase these symptoms all day long, but if you don't address the nerve interference, there's no hope of this thing getting better. That's an interesting one that Austin Davis taught me a long time ago. In order to connect with people, go in the most simplistic about communication being disrupted. Any communicating system, this is an Austin Davis original, any communicating system works less optimally with interference. There's no communicating system that's going to work good if there's interference in it. It's always going to work better with removing interference. I heard Sigafus say something on, I think it was the 10 hours with Sigafus, and I think this is so key. He said, you can use chiropractic mechanically and get people feeling better, like I mentioned earlier. He goes, or done properly, it sets the stage for the best healing. And it doesn't guarantee that sickness and disease won't show up. We've all seen that in our lives. But what it does is it gives the best opportunity for healing and for adaptation if it does come on, or when it comes on. There's going to be stress, there's going to be trauma that's thrown at our bodies, no matter what it is, whether it's a drop-in hockey game and you slip and fall and land on your pelvis weird, or it's the toxins and the junk in our diet that we're not aware of and that we're consuming. So when things come on, is the stage set best? And I think that is one of the best things to talk about to practice members about. Sure, we can use it for that little bit of mechanical problems where the pain exists. But once we get beyond that, look at what it's doing. It's healing and restoring the tissue back to where it should be. And then by maintaining that in a proper alignment, we're allowing the best potential for adaptation to happen because the nerve signals are connected up and down, that afferent, efferent pathways. It's the safety pin cycle in real life. And that's really an amazing gift that we have, that if we practice in a medical paradigm under medical rules, then we're just mechanists doing mechanical adjustments. And that can help people get out of pain. Optimization is really what we're all about. So I think that one of the best things that we can educate on is not just the hopium of potential, right? But it's the real life application that chiropractic gives years to your life and life to your years. I've got a lady named Joanne that's out in my farming community. Joanne's 95 years old. I've been seeing her for about 2 years, and she's never seen a chiropractor before me, which I think is really amazing. It's such a gift to be able to share this principle and philosophy with a 95-year-old. She's seen a lot. She's gone through a lot in her lifetime. And what's amazing is she came into me on a walker. Her nephew, not a practice member, heard I was coming in town. This is a small community that doesn't have a chiropractor. And so I opened up there about, like I said, 5 years ago. And it's been really amazing getting into the community and just giving, loving, and serving. So Joanne shows up on a walker, started making some corrective adjustments, and sure enough, that walker turns to a cane. And over a couple more weeks or months, that cane is gone, and she's walking by herself, coming in, drives herself, gets to the office, and we start talking, and she goes, I've never had this much energy before. And so I challenged her. I said, well, why don't you go down to the senior center and walk a little bit? She didn't want to walk. What she does is she goes to the community center, not senior center, the community center, and sits on a stationary bike and pedals 3 to 4 miles per day, 3 times a week. So in a week's time, she's going 15 to 20 miles on this bike. She doesn't have a cane. She doesn't have a walker anymore. She has a nice pair of On Clouds that she wears, right? And so she's getting around and doing amazing things. And I think about that statement that chiropractic add years to your life and life to your years. That's a life to your years right there. I don't know how much longer she's going to be around. She seems to be doing great. And I think it's an amazing testimonial to chiropractic, because a couple of years ago, her first Thanksgiving that she was with me, her son was in town and went to go to the table or go to the kitchen to get more gravy or butter or something that they were missing on the table, and starts to get up and kind of sighs and groans and grabs his back, and 95-year-old Joanne goes, you're moving kind of slow. I think you need to go see a chiropractor. And he kind of turns and scoffs. He goes, Mom, I'm old. What are they going to do to help me? And she shoves her chair back. She goes, I'll show you. And she hops up and runs and grabs the gravy and comes back and sits down. And just amazing, right? A really amazing testimonial of the power of, you can't ever start too late, right? As long as there's life flowing through that system, the power of life can be turned on. I had somebody in the office today, and they said they were making a joke about aging, right? And they said that their warranty had expired. And I kind of thought it was funny, because immediately I jumped back in. I said, no, it didn't. I go, I am like that telemarketer that calls to offer you an extended warranty. The warranty fixes things when your car breaks down. And that's what we're doing here, is we're fixing things so that your body doesn't break down. We're correcting your alignment so degenerative arthritis doesn't start. We're removing nerve interference so you have the best brain-body connection. And we're extending that warranty. And I'm pretty sure the warranty goes in the body until the last breath is taken, because the body will always heal and repair and restore. Maybe that doesn't look like what we think. Maybe that's confusing at times. But going back into Stevenson's textbook, the body doesn't make a mistake. The innate intelligence never makes a mistake, and only does what's best for the individual to cause better and cleaner adaptation. I think that's really important. I think that's really, really important to understand that. We all know the fever, right? If we get a fever, we get the flu, and the fever runs up to kill viruses and bacteria. And that's really great. My son he doesn't get sick. Kids don't really get sick ever, but he got sick for like a day last fall, and he slept it off. And the next day, didn't really have much of an appetite. And the next day he came, we were talking, and I go, hey man, I don't know how much you've eaten in the last couple of days. Are you hungry? And he goes, no, I'm kind of hungry, but I feel really good. I don't think I'm going to eat today. And he stayed in a fasted state. And it hit me. I was like, man, how great is the innate intelligence that, in wellness circles, you can talk about fasting. And one of the main reasons why you do intermittent fasting, 24-hour fast, 36, 72, whatever your length and duration of the fast is, it's to introduce a phenomenon called autophagy. And autophagy is a way that the body will go through and look at the cells, and any cell that's not working optimally, it will nix it. It will kill it. So it's a great way to cleanse from abnormal cell development. It's a great way to cleanse from infections. It's a great way to do a lot of things. And it really simply hit me. When you're sick and you're vomiting, it's easy to think of the temperature, burning up the bug, right? But when you're vomiting, or you're have different exit strategies out the backside, all that's doing is removing glucose from your system really quickly. It's not allowing glucose to come in, and it's flushing the gut in order to get the glucose out and to initiate a lymphatic drainage into the gut, so your body can release the broken down material that needs to get out of there, the toxins, right? Removal of the toxins into the colon. But I think the biggest thing is limiting glucose from getting into the stomach to hold an autophagetic state, so that anything that's in there that's causing that infection to propagate is done. The autophagy cleanses it. The innate intelligence takes care of it. So probably the worst thing we can do to a sick kid, and maybe it's different now, but when I was growing up, it was saltine crackers and a 7-Up, right? And man, how dumb. How dumb. It's straight simple sugar and easy digestible carbs that turns right to sugar, and it feeds that. It breaks your fast. And it was funny, it was through the eyes of my son that I saw that, and what he was choosing to do to allow his innate potential to express greater and continue to cleanse his body. So even when it appears to make a mistake, it's our inability to understand what innate is doing and why it's doing it. And when we can sit back and rest in that, it's really great. I was sitting in church one time, and the pastor had made a comment, and he had said that people who don't understand what Jesus died for, they lack the joy that comes from receiving God's grace. And I kind of turned to Denise and I said, that's 100% chiropractic. And she's like, what are you talking about? So we get out to the car. She's like, what was that? What was chiropractic about that? I said, people who don't understand that we have an amazing innate intelligence, God inside of us, running our bodies, making us thrive, making us function, doing all these things, they lack the joy that comes with that. And I think that medicine has, for the most part, forgotten or never knew about the innate potential, right? They are trying to mess with the system. They're trying to suppress it. It's easy and it's PC to say that drugs mask symptoms. But I think the real thing is this. If innate never makes a mistake, then that makes innate truth in the body. And that means that the expression of life is the expression of truth to all of our cells, all of our organs, all of our tissues. And the opposite of a truth, or if you cover up the truth, we all know what that's called. That's a lie. So, I've heard Dean Satilli talk about side effects and how there is no side effect. It's just a marketing term for an effect, right? No front effect or back effect, so there's no side effect. And that's a really dumb, it's a funny thing. And it's dumb that we say that and we allow them to have a deviation from what they said this drug is going to do to now just calling it a side effect, and it waters it down. I think that the term masking symptoms is a watered down version of saying you're lying to your body. If your joint is misaligned and it's causing an inflammatory response, that inflammation is trying to get in there to heal and repair that joint. But when we take something as simple as an anti-inflammatory, we're lying to the body. We're masking and covering up that symptom, yes, but we're lying to the body to tell it that it's okay. And that's not a good thing. It's never going to end well if we lie. We're always going to get caught, and it's going to come back to bite us. And in this case, it's going to cause that joint to degenerate and break down faster than what it should if it was aligned and moving properly. That function's there and it's restored. And so I think that probably one of the biggest things that hit me lately is just how much chiropractic centers and focuses on truth. You don't have to go back and cover up your tracks if you're telling the truth. You don't have to go back and tell another lie and another lie and another lie. You don't have to take another drug and another drug and another drug to cover up the side effects. So we're actually purveyors of the truth. And I think that's a really awesome hat to wear. I'm proud to wear it. I'm proud to be a chiropractor. I'm proud to be a DE principled chiropractor, because without this, I probably would have been swept up in some type of medical program or some medical philosophy. And it was DE that gave me my firm foundation in knowing and understanding that the innate potential of the body always tells the truth. It always does what's best for the individual. And if I can't figure it out, it just means that I'm not understanding it and I need to do more investigation. Just like that autophagy with fasting and how that relates to the body going through a fever state. It's all right there. So I'll probably wrap up here, and I just want to kind of share this with you. I saw this the other day that if we're in a space where we don't know what we're doing and we're in a holding pattern, sometimes it's best to wait until inspiration hits you and wait till God shows up and lets you know kind of where to go and what to do. And this, it was a TikTok, right? And this guy said it the best, and I think it's fantastic. He said, when you're waiting on God's plan and you don't understand it, do what waiters do and serve. I think that's kind of pretty awesome, and it's very salient to DE. We go through different traumas, different stressors in life, and we don't understand it. And like Dr. Sid say, sometimes the best thing is just to serve your way through it. There's no problem in the world that a bunch of new patients won't solve. I think that's just it, right? Is that we serve our way through it. We stay grounded in the principle. We tell the truth. We teach people how their body works. And when that happens, we add years to their life and life to their years. So I think that's probably it for me. That's what I've got for you guys tonight. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys in July in Atlanta. Love you.
Well, Ryan, I'm so sorry I wasn't able to introduce you, but the internet just decided to cut out.
Hey,
and
all good.
I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad I got to sit and hear all of that. And, that's what I love about Tuesday Night Calls, because you gave us all different examples of how to simply tell people what it is we do. Anybody can go tomorrow and just tweak something that they weren't clear on with communicating to make it even better for the people that they see tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just fabulous. And I love that you talk about adaptation, because just lately I've been just kind of studying that word, because in our society, we're kind of confused about really what healing is. But if we can teach them what adaptation is, then it's a whole new space for people to realize what they really should be searching for.
Right.
Because they still will think health, no symptoms, I'm doing fine.
Right.
But adaptation is about really what function is all about. So I'm so glad you talked about it, to have the best state of adaptation for us.
That's it. That's all Sigafoos. Oh, thank you. That's all Sigafoos. And I've listened to that so many times, but I was dipping back in after the last DE, and it just really, again, like you just said, it's simplifying the message. And I don't know how many times I've listened through the 10 hours with Sigafoos, but a lot. To hear it again, just in a simplistic manner, that it sets the stage for adaptation to happen. And that's all that the nerve system is there to do, is signals up from the body, signals down in response, signal up from the body, signal down in response. And when we get that flow of communication, that safety pin cycle going, great things happen.
Yeah. I also thought about your guy that's the lineman, that your communication with him is just, you communicate with him that, look, if he doesn't get his job done and get that line connected, people are going to be without a source.
I don't think I've ever gone there with him, but when he shows up on Wednesday, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to tell him that. I'm like, wait a minute, we got to simplify all of this.
Yeah.
So,
I love and appreciate you. I can't wait to see you in July. Have an awesome night, and thank you for your message. It was fabulous.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Love you.